I manufacture skincare for a living. What I'm about to tell you is the industry's greatest secret. We gatekeep this so you keep buying more. Toners, essences, serums. They are all invented by the marketing department, not the formulation team. There's no magical set of ingredients that we can put in to make something an essence, a toner, or a serum. These words actually mean nothing to us.
The truth about toners, essences, and serums. Is this just marketing, or is there truly a difference between these products?
Right, so do you even need a toner? Do you need an essence? Do you need a serum? Is this all lies, deception, trying to get your hard-earned money? Here we go.
Here we go. So first of all, I loved when I saw this video. I was, you can see I'm wearing shorts today.
Business up top.
Which shout out 10,000 on the shorts over here. I'm trying to step up. These are my favorite shorts of all time. They're durable. They're, this is chaos. Okay, so everything's happening. All right, everything bad is happening. Okay. All right, so first of all, I loved when this video showed up on my For You page. I was elated, to say the least, okay? So I looked at a little bit of this person's profile. It looks like they have a skincare brand. Their skincare formula family has a skincare brand in Thailand. Very interesting, because I'm going to be in Thailand for a new product launch from a brand over there in the next couple months. So super excited for that. It'll be my first time in Thailand, so stay tuned for that, because there's a really cool product launch coming out of East Asia, so stay tuned for that. All right, so this video, okay, fascinating, great video. Go watch the rest of his content. It's amazing, and he really gets into details about different types of ingredients that are out there and how to formulate them. So we've said this in the past, right? Toners, maybe the generation above me, were toner fanatics, and I still see that when patients come into the office. Invariably, when I ask people about their skincare routine, they always tell me that they have a toner in their skincare routine. They've had it forever, they were told that they needed to use it forever, and toners were very popular. I had a recent experience where I had a patient come in with her mom, and they both were talking about skincare to me. Now, the daughter was telling the mom, you don't need toners, okay? And then the mom was like, no, you need a toner. So this kind of like intergenerational dialogue is starting to happen. Like, do you actually need a toner? Like, what is a toner? So if we go into the history of toners, the reason toners were even created is because people used to cleanse with soap, and soap had lye, it had very high pHs, it would leave residue behind on the skin, and that was not great for the skin to have a very high pH. You don't want to have anything on the skin that's really above a pH of 7. It can be really disruptive to the skin barrier. And so they started to create toners that would balance the pH on your skin. So it would bring your pH of your skin back to the normal acidic acid mantle of your skin, and it would also remove some of that residue and some of that lye that was deposited on the skin. So toners used to serve a very specific purpose. Even then though, they just decided they would call it a toner. There's no government definition of what a toner is. They could have called it anything. They could have called it a cleanser, a balancer. They could have called it anything, but they called it a toner. And toners used to serve that purpose. Now that we don't really cleanse with soaps like this anymore, toners really don't have a purpose in their traditional sense, but people still use toners. And so then that gave rise to the essence.
Okay, so essences, another similar in body, similar experience to a toner, but then you add in either experiential things to perhaps give you an experience, like whether it's rose water, or whether it's some sort of perfume, or something to elevate the whole process, or now also active ingredients that have a functional purpose. So you'll have like salicylic acid is a really common one to find in these. And really, it's not that much different from a toner nowadays, especially if you look at the ingredient list and functionality of it. And then after essences, then you get into serums, and really it's about the same thing. Again, you're like progressively moving forward in terms of how the consistency is of the product. But when you look at the ingredients, functionality, and purpose of the whole spectrum, now is a ton of overlap.
Right. And because these don't really truly have a definition that anyone is policing, you could literally call anything anything and you could get away with it, right? There's nothing that's going to stop me, right? So this is, let's take Remedy for Healthy Aging. I could call Remedy for Healthy Aging an essence. I could say Remedy for Healthy Aging essence. and people would buy it thinking it's an essence. They would try it and be like, this doesn't feel like an essence at all. Because I think all of the skincare consumers have a concept of what an essence is supposed to be. That doesn't mean the ingredients do anything different. It just means that you have a concept of what an essence is, which is a pretty liquidy product, right? So when we think about the thicknesses of these products, most consumers understand that toners are going to be the thinnest. They're like, could be basically water. And then you have an essence, which is going to have a little bit more body to it. Maybe it's got a little bit of glycerin in it. Maybe it has a little bit of butylene glycol, something that's going to give it more slip, a little bit more texture. Maybe it has some thickeners in it. And then even thicker than that is going to be a serum, which is also expected to be liquidy for a lot of people, but it's going to have a little bit more body to it, right? And then you look at lotions and you look at creams and you expect them to be even thicker. And then you hear the word ointment and you think that's going to be the thickest of all. And that's generally true, and they could be anything. And so a lot of people think, well, I need all of these steps because all of these steps have been named. But the truth is, you're really thinking about what are the active ingredients in that formula, and is it helping me achieve my goal? So if your goal is to get rid of texture, it would be really nice to have a glycolic acid serum. It would also be very nice to have a glycolic acid essence, and it could be really nice to have a glycolic acid toner. So the truth is, these names and this categorization of products is purely marketing language. They can be anything. And a lot of times they put these in these different buckets, one, to help describe to you what the texture is going to be, because if you understand what an essence feels like, you'll understand what the product feels like. It also makes you feel like you need this extra step in your routine, because let's say, for example, I had an essence and I called it a milky serum, right? But then you also have a serum from another product. Now you're thinking, well, maybe I don't need two serums, but you might need an essence and a serum, right? So it gets you to buy that extra step, right? And so it is used to get people to buy things, but it's also used to get people to understand what the product is going to experience like when you get it.
Right, so there is this like unspoken rule and this subjective experience where the more experience you get with skincare, you do kind of understand, oh yeah, this is a toner, this will feel like an essence, this is serum. Like if I bought a toner and it was as thick as a serum, I would actually probably be kind of upset because in my mind I'd already created the experience that I wanted. So I'm fine. If we want to keep the nomenclature that these three things exist perpetually and independently, God bless, keep it. It does have some sort of functional benefit, but it's something you have to learn from experience and like your own trial and error. The idea that there are different steps in your routine, however, that needs to go away because they all serve one practical purpose, and that is treating something for your skin. It can be hydration, it can be oil control, it can be acne, it can be aging, but they're all delivering something to your skin that should benefit and treat and target a specific problem that you want to address. That can live in your active phase. And then generally with the layering videos, it's just consistency. The thickest thing goes last. And there are exceptions to this rule, so don't lose y'all's minds, but the thickest thing will go last, the thinnest thing goes first, and it's just based off of the theoretical idea of absorption.
Yeah, we'll put a graph here of like a graph or a pictorial of like how to like technically layer your skincare products, but like we've said in the past, there's no science behind this. Like our theory is if it's thicker, you know, it's gonna be harder to penetrate the other ingredients, so you don't wanna put like a liquid on top of an ointment, right? Because then it probably won't get into the skin, right? So it's more of like just gestalt than it really is any science behind it in general. So thinnest to thickest, and that's generally how we layer our products. Now, when it comes to you deciding how do you want to build your routine going forward, you can layer it in this way and you can have all of these steps. But my thought process is you don't need any of these steps and you don't not need any of these steps, right? A lot of times I say you don't need a toner, but you don't need a toner in the traditional sense of a toner. But if your toner is really an essence that has active ingredients in it that have a specific goal, that's great for your routine. So my suggestion to you is decide how we've always said when you build a routine is pick your problem that you're trying to target and what your goal is. Now, your goal can be a specific concern that you have with the skin. Can be acne, can be dark spots, can be wrinkles. Or it could simply just be, I want hydrated skin and I want to age in a healthy way, right? So it could be more just maintenance in that stage, but decide what that is, what you're trying to do the skincare for. And then look for products that are actually gonna fill that need gap, right? So if you're somebody who said the latter here, that you really want hydration in your skincare routine and your goal is, I just want really dewy looking skin, this would be a really good place for a milky essence. You know, milky essences are great for hydration, and you could follow that with a moisturizer, and your entire routine could be cleanser, milky essence, and a moisturizer. And you would achieve that end goal of really deep, dewy hydration. If your goal was to get to improve your acne and you put a milky essence with a moisturizer, you're not going to achieve that end goal, right? So it's all about what are you trying to achieve, and are the products that you choose actually going to achieve that goal? You don't need an essence, you don't need a toner, you don't need a serum, but you could use any of these if it was helping you achieve your goal.
Right, exactly. So from the very beginning, always impressed upon you, skincare is personalized, know your skin, and therefore you can treat your skin. And that's basically it. Whatever vehicle you want to use to get there is up to you.
Absolutely. So 100% agree with this video. All of these phrases are used to get you to buy things. They are all part of marketing, but you, as somebody who's watching our channel right now, you're gonna cut through the noise, and we're educating you to empower you so that you can make decisions for your skin without having to worry about the marketing hype. I still buy into the marketing hype when I hear like this descriptive language, you know, I'm like, ooh, moisturizer souffle. Like, I want to try the moisturizer souffle. So, you know, I'm a victim of it too because I love beauty and I love skincare products. So, you know, I'm definitely going to be buying the things that I marketed too. So I do think it's an effective way. But as somebody who's trying to be thoughtful about what you purchase, just know, ignore the nomenclature, pick products and ingredients that are actually going to benefit your skin.
That's it. So thank you for being on this journey, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.